You know that moment on an airplane when they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first? For years, I dismissed this as just another safety protocol. Now I understand it was the lesson I needed most in my practice. We can't sustain others if we're struggling to breathe ourselves. Picture this. You've just finished another extended session with a client. Your scheduled hours stretched to 2. Your WhatsApp shows 3 unread messages asking for quick advice, and you're mentally calculating how much unpaid time you've invested this week. Sounds familiar? Today, we're diving deep into a reality rarely discussed in the service industry, especially for those of us working in healing, coaching, and therapeutic spaces. There's a particular ache that comes with pouring your soul into your work, only to have it valued at less than a casual dinner for 2. We're taught to lead with our hearts, to go the extra mile, to build genuine connections. But at what point does professional dedication cross into personal vulnerability? Think about this. When a master artist creates a painting, we don't just pay for the hours they spent with brush in hand. We pay for every sketch they've ever drawn, every technique they've mastered, every insight they've gained over decades. Yet somehow, in healing and coaching work, we're expected to give away our mastery as if it were as simple as pouring water from an endless well. Pricing our services isn't just about the hours we spend in session. It's about the years of experience we've accumulated, the countless hours of study, the emotional labor of holding space for others' journeys, and yes, all those quick questions we answer between sessions. When you've spent decades honing your craft, whether in therapy, coaching, or any other type of healing work, your rate isn't just about time. It's about transformation. Consider the hidden costs of being constantly available. That WhatsApp message you answer at 9 p.m., it's not just 2 minutes of your time. It's the emotional bandwidth you're allocating, the mental space you're holding, the boundaries you're quietly dissolving. We do this because we care, because we're invested in our clients' growth, because we see the value in building trust and rapport. Many people come to us so depleted of human love, understanding, and openness. They arrive at our door, literal or virtual, carrying decades of emotional wounds, starved for genuine connection, seeking someone who will finally see them, hear them, hold space for their pain. They need someone to simply be there for them after being emotionally depleted, sometimes for decades. This holistic approach is often needed because we remain human, touched by their stories, moved by their courage to seek help. We understand that healing sometimes requires going beyond the strict boundaries of a session because trauma doesn't conform to neat hourly blocks. But here's where it gets complicated. The more we give, the more we risk blurring the lines between professional service and personal connection. We create spaces so safe, so nurturing, that clients might sometimes forget we're running businesses, that we too have bills to pay, families to support, and a need to value our own growth and sustainability. And all this regardless of our own personal struggles, our own sleepless nights, our own challenges that we carry silently while holding space for others. We're not superhumans out there. We're people who've chosen to serve while navigating our own life's complexities, often processing our own emotions and experiences behind the scenes. Setting boundaries in healing work is like tending a garden. Without fences, everything you plant is vulnerable to being trampled. Without clear edges, your carefully cultivated space becomes a public thoroughfare. Your expertise, your energy, your wisdom, these are precious flowers that need protection to bloom fully for those who truly value them. The harsh reality? Sometimes the very connections we've nurtured become the source of our deepest professional wounds. A client who's shared their deepest fears with you might balk at a modest rate increase, despite having benefited from years of your expertise and round-the-clock support. Another might ghost you without even considering the impact of their sudden disappearance, vanishing after months or years of deep work together, as if all those extended sessions, late-night supportive messages, and emotional investments meant nothing. The sting isn't just financial, it's emotional, professional, and deeply personal. Yet this isn't about pointing fingers or assigning blame. It's about acknowledging a systemic issue in how we structure our professional relationships. When we overgive without clear boundaries, we set precedents that become increasingly difficult to adjust. we inadvertently teach others that our additional time, our extended energy, our constant availability comes without cost. So what's the solution? It starts with recognizing that maintaining professional boundaries isn't cold, it's necessary. It means being clear about our value proposition from the start. It means having concrete policies about between-session communication. It means understanding that raising our rates isn't just about inflation. It's about acknowledging our growing expertise and the full scope of what we offer. So, if you find yourself in this situation, consider implementing what I call the full value framework. Document everything you actually provide: the session time, the preparation, the follow-up support, the years of training. Make it visible, make it tangible. Help clients understand that when they invest in your services, they're not just paying for an hour of time, they're accessing a wellspring of experience, dedication, and expertise. But perhaps most importantly, we need to normalize having direct conversations about value and boundaries in healing professions. The idea that being spiritual, nurturing, or therapeutic somehow means we should be less business-minded is outdated and harmful. We can be both deeply caring and professionally astute. Also, please consider, every time you hold firm to your boundaries, you're not just standing up for yourself, you're setting a standard for our entire industry. Every time you clearly communicate your value, you make it easier for other practitioners to do the same. This isn't just about business, it's about sustainability. Because when we burn out from overgiving, when we feel undervalued and depleted, everyone loses. Our clients lose access to our best selves. Our industry loses experienced practitioners, and we lose the joy that drew us to this work in the first place. I need to be vulnerable with you for a moment. Recently, I experienced something that shook me to my core and forced me to confront these exact issues in my own practice. After decades of experience in counseling, astrology, and spiritual guidance, I found myself feeling deeply wounded by a client's abrupt departure. Not because they left, but because their leaving revealed just how much of myself I had invested beyond professional boundaries. The truth hit me like a tidal wave. I had created an unsustainable dynamic where my expertise, my emotional labor, and my constant availability were being taken for granted. I had unconsciously built a practice where I was giving 200% while struggling to ask for 100% of my worth. Every extra hour freely given, every late-night message answered, every extended session that ran double time, these weren't just acts of generosity. They were symptoms of a deeper pattern that needed to be addressed. In an effort to transform my practice, I wrote down every client interaction from the past month. Next to each, I marked whether it energized or depleted me. The pattern was clear. The clients who respected my boundaries were the ones experiencing the most profound transformations. By allowing myself to be constantly accessible, I wasn't just depleting myself, I was robbing them of the opportunity to develop their own inner resources. This realization didn't come easily. It arrived through tears of frustration, through nights of questioning my worth, through moments of anger at both myself and others. How had I, with all my experience and insight, allowed myself to become so entangled in this web of overgiving? The answer was both simple and profound. Because I cared. Because I saw the potential in every client. Because I believed that by giving more, I was being of greater service. But here's the painful truth I had to face. By not valuing my own boundaries, I was inadvertently teaching others not to value them either. By treating my expertise as an endless resource to be freely tapped, I was setting up both myself and my clients for eventual disappointment. The very depth of care that made me excellent at my work was the same force that was making my practice unsustainable. Looking at my calendar one evening, contemplating the cascade of extra sessions, extended hours, and unpaid quick advice, I realized that each one represented not just time but emotional energy, spiritual investment, years of study and practice. And in that moment, I made a decision that felt simultaneously terrifying and liberating. I decided to love myself as much as I loved my clients. This wasn't about becoming cold or distant. It wasn't about building walls. It was about creating healthy containers for my gifts. It was about recognizing that by better protecting my energy, I could actually serve at a higher level. That by valuing my time more explicitly, I could help others value their own journey more deeply. The shift wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, particularly when implementing new boundaries with long-term clients. There was the fear of losing connections, of being seen as less giving, of somehow diminishing the sacred space I'd created with each person. But what I discovered was quite the opposite. As I began to model healthy professional boundaries, many clients developed a deeper respect for both my work and their own investment in their growth. So, if you find yourself in a similar situation, consider this. Every time you check your phone outside sessions, every time you extend session time with just a few minutes without charging, every time you skip lunch to fit in an urgent call, you're not just giving away your time. You're giving away pieces of your professional legacy. You're telling the universe, your clients, and yourself that your expertise is worth less than you've invested to gain it. Yes, some relationships changed. Yes, some clients chose to leave when I adjusted my rates or formalized my between-session communication policies. And yes, each departure still touched my heart, because I'm human and because I genuinely care about each person I work with. But I've learned that there's a profound difference between caring deeply and caring codependently. This journey of reclaiming my professional worth while maintaining my authentic care for clients has been transformative. It's taught me that true service isn't about being available 24/7, it's about being fully present and energized when we are together. It's shown me that pricing my services appropriately isn't just about my sustainability, it's about creating a container where real transformation can occur. I also understood that when we undervalue ourselves in this work, we create a ripple effect that touches everyone we serve. We perpetuate the myth that spiritual and healing work should somehow be exempt from normal business boundaries. We contribute to a culture where practitioners burn out, where expertise is undervalued, and where the very sustainability of our practices is compromised. The most powerful lesson I've learned through all of this is that setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's sacred. It's an act of respect for both ourselves and our clients. It's about creating a sustainable model of care that honors both the practitioner and the person seeking guidance. When we value ourselves appropriately, we give others permission to do the same. So your boundaries aren't just about protecting your energy, they're about preserving the sacred space where true transformation happens. When we create clear containers for our work, we give our clients permission to value their own growth journey more deeply. It's time to revolutionize how we think about service in our industry. Share this with anyone who needs to hear it, counselor or client. Let's help our community thrive from abundance, not depletion. Comment below about your personal experiences with the themes exposed in this video, and subscribe to my channel for more engaging content. Thank you for watching. This is Ayla, signing off.